Shalom, this is Kabash Bayasharala, and before I hop to today's lesson, I want to give all honor, glory, and praises to the Most High in the name of His Son, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, in the true Pele Hebrew tongue. Ka Halayim La Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ha Rakak Kodash Ma'amaf. I want to give double honor to the apostles, the elders, GMS who rule well and teach well. I want to give double honor to my elder apostle as well, Harold One Banya Sharala, the Lions Den Camp here in Jacksonville, Florida. And I want to say shalom to the Akim four corners of the globe, pushing their truth and sincerity. And with that being said, this let's go into the topic of wisdom moving through all things. And we're just going to jump straight into it. Salakia. Wisdom of Solomon 7:24. For wisdom is more moving than any motion. She passeth and goeth through all things by reason of her pureness. So, the wisdom of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is being preached globally and it can't be stopped. Making wisdom more moving than any motion, you know? It's like water, man. You can't stop it. You can only restrain it. And even that, the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai can't be restrained, which makes it more moving than any other motion. You know, they take down one YouTube page, another one pop up. One brother step down, another brother step up. The word of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai and his foundation standeth sure, it abideth forever. The things of this world come and go. But, the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai been rolling and ain't stopped since the beginning of time. That's another thing makes it more moving than any other motion. So regardless of what man think, what man feel, what he believe, what his will is, only the will of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is going to come to pass. And only those moving according to his wisdom will be able to stand until the end. So with that being said, we're to ensure that we're vessels worthy of the Lord's wisdom. Otherwise, we won't be able to retain it. And so wisdom is more moving than any, it says, for wisdom is more moving than any emotion. She passes and goeth through all things by reason of her pureness. So the wisdom of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai passing through all things, people included. So we want to make sure that when wisdom passes by us, it stops and lingers, it hangs out, it becomes a part of us. We don't want it to pass us over. But we have to make sure that we're vessels worthy of the wisdom of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, because it passes through all things by reason of her pureness. If you're not spiritually pure, holding on to your spiritual chastity, it's going to pass right by you, That's pretty much it. And we don't want the wisdom, because the wisdom of the Lord passed through. The Lord passed over you. And us having the wisdom of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, we're to retain it. 1 Corinthians 3:16. Know ye not that ye are the temple of Yahweh, and that the Spirit of Yahweh dwelleth in you? If any man defile the temple of Yahweh, him shall Yahweh destroy. For the temple of Yahweh is holy, which temple ye are. So, pretty much simple. We're temples of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And we're to maintain and present ourselves as such, man. We talk the talk, so we got to walk the walk. We can't be seen as hypocrites. Because IUIC is some of the biggest hypocrites out here. They say they maintain the temple, this, that, and the third. But that outer cup is the only thing they're really maintaining. The inwardly, their doctrine is leading you, their wisdom is of this world, ultimately. It's not of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. They're defiling their temples. They're not retaining their chastity through the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. They defiled themselves. And us being of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, again, we're to maintain ourselves according to the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Present ourselves as, his servants, not as somebody of this world. We don't hide our light, we shine our light. We show forth our wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. We can't defile ourselves through the things of this world. I have the definition of defile according to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, which means to make unclean or impure. So if we allow ourselves to become defiled by this world, the Lord will strip us of his spirit and wisdom, leaving us in the world, putting us back in the darkness, with nothing left to look forward to but judgment. And we don't want that. So 1 Corinthians 3:18. Let no man deceive himself. If any man among you seems to be wise in this world, let him become a fool, that he may be wise. For the wisdom of this world is foolishness with Yahweh. For it is written, he taketh the wise in their own craftiness. And again, Yahweh knoweth the thoughts of the wise, that they are vain. So we're to just stay humble and ready to learn, no matter how much the Lord increases us. We can't become boastful or arrogant, because we did nothing to obtain these things of the Lord. He didn't have to reveal himself to us. So we gotta stay humble. Cause pride and arrogance, them some of the things you could defile yourself with, causing that spirit to leave you. The same way the Lord increases us, he'll decrease us. So we gotta always watch and be sober, staying level-headed. And worldly wisdom is secondary. The Lord's wisdom is our primary objective. That's what we're to be seeking to obtain. And like the wisdom of this world, it comes in handy from time to time. But only the wisdom of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai is going to lead us to salvation and eternal life. So we don't all the way reject worldly wisdom. For instance, it's cool if you get like a trade or something, you become a carpenter. Yahushai was a carpenter. Or one of the disciples was a tent maker. I can't remember if it was Peter or Paul, but some, but that's a side thing. That's secondary to our true calling and our purpose. Anything else we do is just to get our daily bread. Like me, for instance, I like working on cars, But that's secondary to this work that we were called to do, which is to serve Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. You can't put anything of this world before him. You can't put worldly wisdom before spiritual wisdom. Again, 1 Corinthians 3:19, for the wisdom of this world is foolishness with Yahweh, for it is written, he taketh the wise in their own craftiness. So at the end of the day, worldly wisdom is vain, and it can only lead you to destruction. You're not going to abide by, like nobody's going to school to, taking out a financial aid loan, seeking the kingdom of heaven. Their mind's in this place. And, we're to arise and depart from this place. Our minds can't be in this place. We dwell in the spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai in the heavens. That's where our mindset is. Waiting on that new heaven and earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. Nothing of this world will lead you to the Lord. It's all temporary, corrupt, and polluted. While we're to keep our eyes singularly focused on Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai and the things he commanded of us and left here for us, wisdom being one of them. Isaiah 33:6, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. So only those possessing the wisdom of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai are going to be stable-minded or level-headed during the times to come. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. Worldly wisdom isn't going to prepare you for the prophecies and judgments that the Lord is bringing to this place. Worldly wisdom got these elites digging bunkers and, doing all these things to escape the carnal aspects of the Lord's judgment. They're trying to escape the fire that he's bringing to this place. But they can't escape that judgment because the judgment is spiritual. Regardless of what they do carnally, their judgment is going to be spiritual because that's what the Lord is trying, the spirit, or judging the spirit. That flesh, going to rot away. But the Lord wants that soul. Worldly wisdom has 2/3 of our people led as sheep to the slaughter. So they're not going to be stable-minded when that trap door closed behind them and there's no escape for them. They're not going to be level-headed. They're not going to know what to do, and they're going to be ashamed for the coverings that they chose. But we can flip the script on that one. Us, of the sheepfold, we know the will of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. And seeing it come to pass, especially in these times with everything going on, this encourages us to keep pushing towards the finish line. That's our strength of salvation. Knowing what the Lord's, because you got to think, me being fairly young in the truth, I didn't have to be that patient. I came in the truth. The fire was damn near just about kindled. We got apostles and elders. They'll teach this truth way before a lot of these things started happening, you know, when America was on top. America, you know, us young, especially us younger Rakim, man, America was kind of already, you know, running out of options when we came in. You got apostles and elders been doing this when America was at full strength, max capacity. Imagine where their faith is at, seeing this place be at where it's at now. And you know, that should only encourage us to strive even more vigorously. Trust in the wisdom of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai even more. And then even with that, knowing that America used to be top dog, this, that, and the third, when nobody even think about lifting the finger towards the Lord, versus where it's at now, that's still encouragement. That's seeing the will of the Lord coming to pass. Because you go to school, they'll teach you, they highlight tape in history class about all their wars and conquerings and this, that, and the third, putting us in captivity, all that. They'll teach you about all that. They'll try to hide the captivity part now, but we know of it regardless. But Proverbs 4 and 5, get wisdom, get understanding, forget it not, neither decline from the words of my mouth. Forsake her not, and she shall preserve thee. Love her, and she shall keep thee. So we're to continuously seek out, obtain, and refresh ourselves with wisdom. Get wisdom, get understanding, and forget it not, you know. Just because you learn something don't mean you need to go over it again. For instance, I've been out of school for about 10 years now. Somebody slapped me with some algebra equations, I'm going to be looking kind of, you know, rusty, you know. So we need to refresh our minds in the spirit of Yahweh, by his spirit and wisdom of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. Continuously seek it out, you know. Go back, you know, that even go back to reverting to the milk too, you know. The simple, sweet, and easy things to learn. Obtain, reobtain, you know. And then those new in the truth, man. Get wisdom, get understanding, and forget if not. It's that simple, you know. You don't got to take out no financial aid, loan. You ain't got to sit in nobody's classrooms. All these things, you know, you just got to sit down, pay attention. Eat the role of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. And that's easier said than done, yes. You do have to, in a sense, sit down and be studious. But we're doing this of our own free will. So you should be willing to seek out wisdom. And by moving according to wisdom, we're preserving our chasteness through the Spirit as we await Yahweh Shai's return. Forsake her not, and she shall preserve thee. Love her, and she shall keep thee. That wisdom of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai is going to keep us in place. We're going to be wise enough to know we losing focus. We need to tighten up. I need to be studied up. I need to refresh my mind in this. I need to go study that. Wisdom will tell you to seek out wise counsel. And all other things, we're not going to sit and list them all out. But it helps us preserve ourselves for the return of Yahweh Shai, our Redeemer, our true shepherd. And that's the point. Because that's what we want to be seeing. Because the Lord's not taking in the uncircumcised and unclean to him. And we don't want to be of that lot. We're clean through the words of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. We want to keep ourselves clean. We can't defile ourselves by going back into the world. Because that's that dog returning to his vomit. That's taking our hand off the plow. That's losing focus, losing sight of losing sight of what we striving to obtain, salvation, losing sight of the Lord. That's your faith wavering. Proverbs 4 and 7. Wisdom is a principal thing. Therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. Exalt her, and she shall promote thee. She shall bring thee to honor when thou doest embrace her. And she shall give to thine head an ornament of grace. A crown shall she deliver to thee. So there's wisdom to be obtained in every aspect of life. So we need to make sure that we're taking heed and moving accordingly, you know. Wisdom is a principal thing. Anything we're doing, we need to be, when you get a job, you don't want somebody constantly standing over you, having to babysit you. You want to get to a point to where you go in there, you can navigate yourself. You can govern yourself. Now, us being babes in the truth, We needed that guidance. We needed that more so than when we kind of got built up and this, that, and the third. We don't need a babysitter. We don't need nobody standing over us. We do need the spirit of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. We do need the Lord watching over us, but we don't need to be pointed in direction. How do I obtain this? How do we know these things now? And we should continuously seek them out, you know, starting with the milk, moving on to the meat. But we need to be taking heed, you know. You could read a whole page out of a book, but if you don't retain what you read, that did you no good. Somebody asks you what you read about, you can't tell them you didn't retain that. So not only do we seek out the things of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, we to retain these things. So forsake her not, and exalt her and promote her. When we exalt and promote the wisdom of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua by moving according to it, that increases our faith in the Lord when we maneuver our way through this world through his wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And he keeps us and protects us because we're doing so. And the end all be all of that is abiding by the Lord's wisdom will lead us to justification, glorification, and the kingdom. That's by us exalting and promoting her. That's her bringing us to honor. Because we trusted in the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. That's going to have us, you know, we're going to be the last man standing, so to speak. All these other worldly wisdoms, philosophies, religions, and all these things, that's going to fail those people who put those coverings on. But we put on the covering of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua and move accordingly. We're going to be crowned with crowns of incorruption. 2/3 of our people are seeking corruptible crowns. They want to be head honcho this, HBIC that, however you want to put it, whatever they're seeking after. They're seeking worldly fame, worldly fortune. We're seeking salvation through the spirit of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. But back to those seeking those corruptible crowns, man, they're building themselves up in worldly wisdom to obtain these things and relying on it, which is going to lead them to being ashamed and confounded when Yahushua returns, when judgment starts playing out and all these other things. And I kind of said it backwards, so not necessarily in that order. But that's just what it is. They're going to be ashamed and confounded. They're going to be seen as fools. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to go back to this first precept and read it one more time. And we'll close it out. Because it's pretty self-explanatory. Wisdom of Solomon 7:24. For wisdom is more moving than any emotion. She passeth and goeth through all things by reason of her pureness. So we're to keep ourselves pure through the spirit of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua to obtain and retain this wisdom. And another word for wisdom is Sophia. You'll hear Akim talk about keeping Sophia first. Sophia being our first woman. Especially in our camp, I thought Ya'ala does a lot of talking about Sophia. So we need to keep Sophia first, wisdom, by reason of her pureness. She's not going out here defiling, you know, she's not going to lead us to go out here and be defiled and this, that, and the third, man, you know. We should be sufficient with that. And the scripture says, be as though you have no wife, man. But we can marry Sophia, wisdom, join ourselves into that and depart not from her. But y'all rock us all. This was edifying. Until next time, I'm going to say shalom.